Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Massive shout out for the support on the Battlefield 2042 rant video. It was #1 in period by an absolute landslide. I'm talking like almost triple the performance of the previous best video in the same time period. And to my surprise, the comment section in that video is actually largely in agreement, which that is actually good because it really shows that the community is kind of together on what the game's problems are, and I think that is a positive thing because I think it's really bad when there's a clear divide in the community and one side takes priority and sends the game in a wrong direction type of thing. But the topic for today's video is going to be today's patch. If you're watching this video is coming out on patch day, so let me guys know in the comment section down below, did the patch actually do anything? But we'll be going over what this patch actually did. Honestly, this patch is essentially a gigantic miscellaneous bug fixing patch. We're going to be going over the highlights in the patch and maybe pointing out some interesting things that I found in the patch notes myself. So if you like content like this, if you like basically like Battlefield news / patch note overviews, hit the like button, really does help the channel, and hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for 14,300 subscribers. So I'm going to be honest, this patch is not what I think the community was kind of hoping for. And don't get me wrong, this patch fixes a ton of bugs, but I don't think this patch really fixes the problems the community is largely having with the game. It's a lot of miscellaneous stuff that maybe you wouldn't even know about or notice if they didn't include it in the patch notes themselves. But starting off with the patch highlights, in the week following this update, weekly missions will actually make it into the game. There will be a total of 3 varying missions each week, which you can track via the main menu. Completing a mission will reward you with player XP, and if you complete all of the available missions within that given week, you'll actually receive a cosmetic. So I think that'll be pretty cool. We'll have to see what the cosmetics are. Anime skins. Yeah, so basically they're going to add anime skins to the game. That's pretty much confirmed at this point. Anyway, the other things they're adding, they added 3 new Portal templates. Vehicle Team Deathmatch, they added Rush layouts for all the All-Out Warfare maps, and they're also adding a new logic option to the rules editor that apparently allows the source of fatal damage to a player to be checked or taken into account. And they actually say, this opens up a ton of new possibilities, and we're looking forward to seeing what cool modes you build with this. I don't really understand what kind of modes people would build with that particular rule, but maybe I'm not creative. So, hey, community, figure some stuff out, okay? But moving on to the gigantic body of bug fixes, I'll try to pick out the highlights here to keep this video as concise as possible. In the general fixes section, they actually corrected the bug that happens when you spawn, which makes your field of view default. So now when you spawn, you should have the correct field of view. In the user interface section, they mentioned they made some changes to make the menus more easily navigatable. Basically, they mentioned that it should take less clicks to navigate the game's menus, so that is good overall. They have also improved the flow of reporting people, so now I can report my teammates even more quickly for gameplay sabotage when they drive my bolt away when I'm trying to farm the entire enemy team in the gun. It's just as simple as that. Matchmaking and friends, they actually improved the reception of crossplay invites if you're trying to play with your friends here on console and your friends a PC player. Sometimes they wouldn't get an invite and there'd be some problems. Apparently they have improved that experience. As far as progression and unlocks goes, like I mentioned earlier, they're introducing weekly missions, providing a cosmetic reward after completing all of the weekly missions within the given week. They added a first match bonus of 1,000 dark market credits for Hazard Zone. This is a direct attempt at incentivizing people to actually try to play Hazard Zone, which I think it's actually kind of depressing that they have to do this, but, we all saw Hazard Zone failing from a mile away, and it is slightly depressing to see them try to incentivize people to play it already. As far as other fixes goes, they addressed a number of apparent water flickering and visual flickering and stuttering issues with the maps and terrain. Speaking of the maps, they mentioned they made over 150 individual fixes, small changes and improvements across all of our maps regarding collision, vehicle collision, prevented vehicles from falling through the map, and a bunch of lighting places, stuff like that. So basically they fixed a bunch of stuff they found in all of the maps. As far as Battlefield Hazard Zone, I mean, there's a bunch of changes here, but honestly, no one's playing it, so I'm not even going to mention it. And Battlefield Portal, they fixed an issue where bullet spread would be too high when trying to fire while zoomed right after sprinting for some Portal weapons, so that should improve Portal gameplay as a whole. In the UX improvements department, they have updated the plus menu customization experience to be overall more smooth and snappy feeling. In a specific change to Conquest, they apparently tuned information spamming to reduce the amount of messages that appear on your screen and just amount of information that's coming in. They did the same for Breakthrough and actually tuned some of the capture times so they are faster / slower depending on the sector. Probably the most important and just unbelievable change in this entire patch notes is they updated the tornado and smoke visual effects, and I for one am elated to hear that. I can't wait to play the game. Moving on through the HUD section, they updated a lot of the game's readability when it comes to whether or not a player can receive armor from you, whether or not a player can be healed or needs ammo, and they actually added UI elements that show incoming medics if you're down from 50 meters. So that is stemming off of Battlefield 5 heavily there. A very interesting change in the audio department, they switched the lock-on warning sound with the incoming missile warning sound. So if you're confused about what this means, remember how Battlefield 4 lock-on sounds worked? That is how they work in this game now, so it's a little more cohesive with the previous games. There is a whole plethora of specialist changes. Not all of them are worth mentioning. Some of it is just a ton of bug fixes, but as far as things that are actually helpful to mention, Angel now actually can self-plate with his own armor plate system, and whenever a player can actually receive armor from you, they're outlined in white. So I find that to help the readability of the game. Another thing that helps the readability, literally, of the game, I guess, is they actually made Pyke's wall hack detect people above and below her now. So, as if Pyke wasn't strong enough, she actually got a buff. So that's great, DICE. Love that. I feel as though I should probably mention this as well. There is actually no fix in this patch note regarding mouse input, and there's no patch regarding C4 drones being patched out of the game with Casper, so that is definitely very, very disappointing. Moving on to the vehicle section, they fixed countermeasures not working, they made improvements to the mounted 20mm cannons, and they actually added a vehicle boost toggle or hold option, as well as potentially tweaked the Little Bird's minigun spread and convergence point. That will be a very, very interesting shadow buff if I think it does what it does. In the weapons section, the NTW-50 anti-vehicle rifle saw a substantial nerf, but also increased its magazine size to 5. They are nerfing the 8x ADS speed, which is kind of depressing because I didn't really feel like the ADS time on the 8x scope was a problem, but whatever. Smoke grenades are seeing changes, as well as Sundance scatter grenades. Grenades will now bounce one time before detonating. And in the soldier category, there is an extremely weird change. Proning with your legs dangling in the air will push you off that object. However, allowing for time to correct yourself. I have no idea what that means, but I'm sure we will figure that out when the patch comes out. That is going to do it for this video, ladies and gentlemen. As I mentioned before, if you like the video, hit the like button. If you really like the video, hit the subscribe button. I stream every single day at twitch.tv/enders. Thank you guys so much for hitting 14,300 subscribers and 920 subscribers on Twitch. You guys are just absolutely blown out of the water. I will see you guys in the next one.